Hi, I'm Subhashni, and today I'm here to talk to you about something very, very interesting, which is functions in Python along with Lambda. You rarely find videos which cover both of them, and I do hope you will understand the versatility of Python um, through this video. If you're wondering who I am, well, I'm sure you're part of this channel. And when we're talking about functions and Lambda, we are talking about creating user-defined functions, not the inbuilt functions within Python. So let's go ahead and let's see what are the 6 key points about functions in Python. The first thing is that we would want to define a function, right? Actually create a name for that function. Like here, I'm defining a function called greet. And what do I want the function greet to do? I want it to say hello plus the name of whoever person that I have and then put an exclamation mark. So here I put a name Tito, and therefore when I say greet name, it actually gives me the outcome hello Tito. The next part of it is the fact that we would have a calling function. So that means that whatever is the argument that we want, we pass it in the function uh, and call for it. So here what do I say? I want to say greet Alice. So what will the function do? It will actually write hello Alice. The next is return the value. So functions should return a value using the return statement. So if suppose in a mathematical sense, I create a function called add, and where it should return x plus y. And when I say add 4 and 5, it gives me 4 plus 5, which is 9. Okay. The fourth part of a function is the parameters and the arguments of the function. When we talk about the parameters these are the variables that are defined as part of the function signature. Arguments are the actual values. So here, what is the argument? It is Bob. Okay. What is the function name? It's greet. So let's see how greet works with Bob. So it says, hello, Bob. There are some default parameters also in this, like you can see that we say print hello, right? And then the name and then the exclamation mark. Okay. So whenever we do a greet and we put a greet world or greet Alice, what do we find is the system actually takes out hello world and hello Alice. Finally, there is something of a function or rather part of the function which is called docstring. So what is this? This is actually the documentation of your function. Now you will notice that there are three um, um, quotes which have been put in the beginning and the end to define the function. So what is the function name? Define greet. What does this function do? This function greets the person with the given name. Parameters is the name of the person to greet. And so you can just say hello, name, and colon. Okay. So what does this really do? It is just a manner of writing a comment about your function. Okay. Now we can therefore see that you can write many types of functions, very complicated types of functions in Python, right? You can actually write functions with loops and the like. So let's say we want to write a more complicated function. So let's create a code to write a data frame with 3 columns, name, age, and city. Then we define 2 functions, which double the age and add 5 to the age with a loop through each row. Okay, so we want this done for each row. Finally, it prints the original data frame and the modified data frames. So what do? We import pandas as PD and create a data frame with 3 lists, name, age, and city. When we look at the data frame, we can actually see that it has all the 3 as a part of it. So what do we find? That when we run the df head, it shows us name, age, and the city. Then we want to use functions and create the first function called double age. What does this do? It does age into 2 and returns the data frame. Okay. Then what do we want to do? Another function called add 5 to age. Here it should take the age plus 5. And then we want to print the original data frame, then print the data frame double age, and then print the data frame added 5 to age. Okay. So all of this we are wishing to do. And here you go. This is the original data frame with double age. So here you can see everything in age column is twice. And then data frame with age plus 5. So everything is the age. Here first line is 25 plus 5, 30, 30 plus 5, 35, and the like. Right. So I think now you've got a good idea that in functions we can use loops, we can use multiple arguments, and we can create a function which can work across different data sets, data frames. We just need to call for that function. Now here there is another type of function which is not so permanent, which is called the lambda functions. Now what are these? These are called, also thought of as anonymous functions, so they aren't functions which you want to store and use with multiple arguments within the whole code. So suppose I wanted to do an x plus 5, and I create a function called add, and then I call for lambda. So this lambda comes from lambda calculus, where you find that lambda calculus is the backbone of computing in many languages, in Python, in JavaScript, you name it. Okay. So what does it do? It assigns a value to add, saying add will mean, if there are two values x and y given, it will mean x plus y. Okay. Now here I have also created one called add one, which is actually x minus y, and I can just run it. So instead of writing define the function and then defining it, I have just in one line written that add this function, and when I ran add one, it is giving me minus 1. So 3 minus 4. But if I was to do just the add function, it will give me 3 plus 4, which is 7. Okay, so we can see this over here. Let's try and see how this lambda can actually work as compared to a function. Like, what is the difference really? So in all these following examples, we find that we have created a function, and then we have created the lambda function also, just to see how easy it is to and how much cleaner it is to do the operation. So here is, I have a list, and I want to sort out the names in the list. Okay, so I create a function called sort names normal, and then I say print the outcome. I pointed to this customer names list over here. Okay, if you want, I can add something called Tina over here, just so that we can see the outcome difference, because I just realized it's A, B, C, D, E, it's already sorted. Okay. And then instead of writing so much, you can see this is how big this function code is become. I can also do the similar thing just by saying lambda. Now in lambda, what have I done? I've actually said that first create x in lowercase. So all the names should be in lowercase, and then sort it out. Okay, and let's see how the outcomes look, and we will see that the outcome looks exactly the same. Okay, so Tina has gone to the end, and it's exactly the same. Okay, now let's see one more scenario of mapping, where we want to actually run the square of each of these numbers in the list. So here, what do we define? We have defined a function saying that square number of the normal, which means number into 2. So which actually means raised to 2, right? So here it is, and then we say print this out. Okay, so map it on and print it out. While when we look at the lambda function for the exact same thing, what is it? It's just a one-line function which says map lambda of x, where x is into 2. For what values? All the values in the list called numbers, and then create a list of the outcome. Okay, and let's see that, do we get the same result? Yes, we get exactly the same result. Now, we all know that in data science, actually, data is often given, right? It's not that you and I are actually going to sit and work on the data. So let's see a data frame which has two lists in it. One is the name, one is the age. So when we import it into a data frame, we get column one name, second column age. Now, what do we want to do? We want to return the square of the age. Now, how can we do it? We can do it in two ways. Here you can see squared age by writing a function which we define as square age normal. Okay. And it should return age is raised to 2. Okay. And in the data frame, there should be a new column which gets created after applying this function. Right? So let's see how the data looks now. So here you go. You have the data frame old one, and then you have the square age normal also created. Okay. Now, if we wanted to do this with the lambda function, we could have done it with one line of code here. Square age lambda is equals to, for the age, do it as age raised to 2. Okay. Again, the way to create a column in the data frame remains the same. And we take square age lambda as the column that we've created. And then let's run it. And here you go. So you have name, age, square age normal, and square age lambda. All of them are created in the data set. Okay. One of the questions that I got asked in a recent interview was that can we use, since we have said clearly that in Lambda we don't use loops, right? While in functions, defined functions, we can use anything. Can we actually use certain conditional expressions in Lambda? And the answer is yes, we can. Like if I want to check with a condition that is this an even number, here you go. Is even lambda x true if x divided by 2, so that we get, when we do that percentage, we get the remainder should be equal to 0, else it should be false. So then if we want to run this function over all the numbers in this list, here you go. Okay, we can actually see the number, and if it's even, is true or false. Okay. Now, this is one trick question which I want to tell you. Can you use a function within a lambda? Well, truthfully, the whole idea of the lambda was that for the simpler functions, we should not have to define a function and write it in too much detail. Therefore, it goes against the principle of the lambda itself, that we should use a function within the lambda. But then if we really did want to, can we do it? And the answer is yes. Like here, I've defined a function add one, which is a and plus b, and then I define a lambda saying x comma y, which is should be the same as add one of x and y. Okay, so if I run it now, you can see that the outcome has come as 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. If we want to see the same thing, the same trick question, like can you use a function within a lambda in context to a data frame, we can create a data frame A and B with two lists of numbers. And then we can say, we should create a function, okay, which says that it should return x plus y. Okay, so in a data frame, what should it create? It should create a new column called C, where it should return the x plus y, which is A plus B column results. So here we go. First we have A and B, and then we have C, which is nothing but A plus B. So with this, I close the session, and I do hope you will reach out for any queries.